Hello and welcome to the Lifestyle-Based Healing Podcast. I'm Dylan, your host, as well as your co-host today.
Hi everyone, good morning.
My mom, Robin. Today we're talking about something that might be a little bit spicy. In some of the research I've done on acid reflux over the past couple months, one of the things and remedies that came up, proposed to me by the algorithm in Google and the AI, is alkaline water. And I know alkaline water has been professed to have all these health benefits. And so I want to talk about that and maybe do some myth busting if it so comes to that. So, Mom, what's your experience with alkaline water? What is it?
Yeah, like you said, there's going to be some probably hateful comments on this one because people either love it or they don't. And I have a really good friend who some time ago was like, "Oh, you got to start drinking alkaline water." I'm like, "I don't understand. I don't get it. Why? And she's like, "Oh, it's just all these good things." She was like a walking commercial for it. And, you know, what I know of the body and from what I've studied is I'm thinking, but does the alkalinity actually make it through your stomach? Because she's like, you know, what are you trying to make more alkaline first? Your body does that naturally, and you want a range of pHs depending on where it is in your body. And, so I'm like, well, you want to alkalize, make it more alkaline in your blood or your stomach, or with acid reflux, I get it. It feels acidic, so they want to make it more alkaline. But with the water, I'm like, but how does it actually work? Because it goes to your stomach where it's super acidic. And
so here's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah, okay.
Is you have pH, obviously, how acidic or basic something is.
Yeah, seven's in the middle.
And like alkaline, from what I gather, is it can mean basic, but it also talks more specifically about the buffering capacity of an acid or base. So you can have an acid that's alkaline because it has some buffering capacity, which basically just means it wants to stay persistent at a certain pH. And so it becomes basically this chemistry lesson of like how many moles are a buffer and like this and that and how they dissociate and certain strength of acid and base, and it gets kind of complicated. From my light internet research when I went into this, because like you said, with acid reflux, people are trying to calm that acid a lot of times to treat the symptoms, and so they turn to alkaline water. But this is actually a problem in pool managing swimming pools. When you have this big body of water, you can actually have it be very basic, but it swings very quickly into the normal ranges with just a little bit of acid. That's because it's not very alkaline. It doesn't have much buffering capacity or capacity to be able to stay at a certain pH. So that's different than just the pH. So it's a little bit complicated. But my big question came when I was looking at the ability of alkaline water to help with acid reflux. Like you said, you're kind of confused on how the pH actually changes or why you'd actually want to change your pH. And that's a good question. One of the things they do with acid reflux is they try to suppress the acid. And so that'll calm symptoms, but doesn't actually solve the root cause, right? And so when it came to this specific alkaline water, people are glued to the idea that they can balance out the pH or stomach acid naturally using either foods or alkaline water. In your experience, does that help very much?
I haven't seen it help at all. Especially people that have acid reflux, the drinking the water doesn't seem to be any better than taking an over-the-counter sort of buffer, medicine. So for acid reflux.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of hype around the alkaline water, but what I found is as soon as you drink that water, you get a temporary increase in pH, which is lowering of this acidity. But your stomach instantly compensates for that because your stomach operates at a certain pH of about 1.7 to 2.2, I think.
Yeah, it's killing the germs.
And it's doing two things really importantly. First of all, it's breaking down your food.
Yeah.
It needs that acid for all the enzymes to operate appropriately. But number two, it's actually killing a lot of germs, and it's acting as that first barrier to eliminate infection. So you actually want your acid to be acidic, and that's why when I talk about
your stomach to be acidic, your
stomach to be acidic, and that's why when it comes to acid reflux, I always say people focus more on the acid too much, and not the reflux enough, which is kind of the root causes. But anyways, yeah.
But you understand why, because it hurts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You know, I mean, if you get that burning sensation, you just want it to go away.
Yeah, it's super important to take care of symptoms, especially in the short term. When it comes to what I actually did on alkaline water research with acid reflux is, first of all, the stomach just balances out itself naturally. So then I came to the question, well, Tums uses all the same bicarbonate buffers and stuff. Why does that work differently than alkaline water? And the difference is because it's actually chemically formulated to have a lot more buffer in it, even in that small tablet. And so it's actually got probably 3 to 4 times more buffer than you could fill in your stomach with alkaline water, even in the best circumstances. A lot of alkaline water isn't necessarily, just because it's pH 8.8, doesn't mean that it has all the same buffering capacity that it could. Like, it's not super saturated with buffer.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, makes complete sense. Yeah.
Again, it becomes a chemistry lesson. Yeah. Maybe I'll pop some stuff on the screen so you guys can see the numbers.
Well, I think that people really just want to know, does it work or does it not work? And I think like with my friend, there's a placebo effect.
Yeah.
You know, she really feels like it's making her health better, and that's okay. You know, if it's getting her to drink more water,
placebo effect's still in effect, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
As long as it's actually changing the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So basically, does it work? Does it not work? I think it doesn't work. If it does work, it's because the water is helping to flush out acid from your esophagus. That's a really important part of experiencing symptoms. And it does obviously have some buffering capacity, but it's not going to be enough to overcome your stomach's acid in a meaningful way. So it might be temporarily.
I don't think it's not inexpensive to purchase it either, right?
It'll be a pricey bottle of water.
Yeah,
sure.
and so I mean, you can technically
airport level. Probably.
Yeah, you can probably make your own. I think you can by taking 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda.
It would have exactly the same content.
And putting it into a quart of water, you know, and it'd be a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So basically, one of the things about alkaline water is like artisanal, or it comes from, it's like hard water, essentially.
Oh, okay. It has more of the minerals in it?
It has more minerals in it because it's been through limestone or whatever it is, whatever the story they have.
Right.
And it's true that it has more of that content, but not all that stuff is actually buffering.
Okay.
So while, again, it's a big chemistry lesson, but ultimately, just because it says 8.8 doesn't mean it's going to buffer your acid. In fact, it's just not going to have enough buffering capacity to come anywhere near just taking a Tums tablet. Or like you say, making your own.
Yeah.
If you put your own in water until it saturates, then...
I mean, the thing about that is if you do the baking soda, you're going to raise your sodium content. So my thought about it when I think of the alkaline water is, well, is there salt in it too, sodium in it? And if you're trying to lower salt for whatever reason, which is always a good thing for most of us, it'd be
they're going to dissociate into
and so then it's like now you solving one. This happens a lot. You focus on one problem, and yet you kind of are creating another problem. Possibly.
Yeah, I would even argue that like Tums is relatively natural. Obviously, it's clinically formulated to be way more potent than anything you'd find in nature, so that's why it actually works on stomach acid. But technically, the bicarbonates, your spit is already, like your saliva already has those natural bicarbonates in it. So that part's kind of natural. And then when it actually hits stomach acid, it just makes salt and carbon dioxide bubbles, and water.
Yeah.
So, you can look at it that way. I would say the big warning is these things don't actually stop the root cause. So you got to actually go for those. That's basically what I wanted to talk about on this topic, actually.
Yeah, and so I think, again, if it gets people to drink more water, because that's not a bad thing. We should all be drinking more water, but I think drinking just regular water is probably sufficient. Okay, and personally, I'm always like, I don't. If you're having a burning stomach, I could see wanting to fix it, but I want to keep all my acid going in there and killing any pathogens and breaking down the food.
Yeah, and that's one of the big problems with taking like stronger, because you have the antacids and you have the stronger PPIs and stuff.
Right.
They've shown that those things, again, we just did an episode on research, so it's suggestive that they may be linked with bone fractures and kidney issues and other stuff because of weaker acid means that there's poor nutrient absorption.
Absolutely.
And so, especially if you're on the long term,
Right.
you
Yeah.
start to get problems because now you're more likely to go deficient in certain nutrients.
Yeah, and I always default to the idea that our bodies are pretty perfectly designed.
Yeah.
And we just need to support them to stay designed that way. And the more stuff we start kind of tweaking and putting in and trying to override the natural systems, which pH is a natural system, your body automatically buffers your blood and all of that. It's just, I don't know. It kind of concerns me. Like, do you really need to do that? Because
it goes to that bigger idea of every time you put a medicine in your body, right? You're trying to tamper with, your systems through external and all the intellectual means that we have today, right? Trying to basically
we're trying to outsmart our biological nature.
Exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah, we're trying to outsmart our system, and and our systems do go awry sometimes. But I just think that we often automatically jump to a quick fix like alkaline water when we actually really know there's alkaline and acidic foods that impact our blood alkaline and our pH and that sort of thing. And so that's a whole other topic. But with the alkaline water, to me, it was I just couldn't get behind it because I'm like, it just seems like another quick fix thing.
And you're just gonna, I don't know. I think you're more likely to just throw your body out of whack. If you're looking for symptom relief, I totally understand that. But I think you're probably just better off taking the Tums. It's just going to work better. And
drinking a bunch of water.
And then drinking water and then long term going for your overall health is what I see definitely works best for acid reflux.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, cool. Good topic.
Good. Yeah, that's all we have for today. Appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to like and subscribe on whatever platform you're on. That helps boost the algorithm and have other people that need to see this content. And then if you're looking for some sort of help, especially for acid reflux, you can go to our website, therevitalizecenter.com. You can find various courses and communities and all sorts of stuff there if you need it. You can join our newsletter as well, and we publish a lot of stuff on this topic. Other than that, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for joining.